I've read hundreds of sales books, but these 5 changed my mindset the most. They were able to rewire my brain and allow me to get up to 145,000 in commissions a month. Now, starting with book number 1, it's the power of your subconscious mind. I used to constantly doubt my ability to close deals until I learned the ability to align my goals with my thoughts. And a powerful story that's shared in this book is in the 1950s, John F. Kennedy was a young, inexperienced politician. He didn't have a strong political machine behind him or huge fundraising. But he had something else going on for him, and it was the power of his mind. Kennedy's campaign manager Brooks Jackson telling the story about how Kennedy used the power of his mind to constantly visualize about his presidency. He would visualize himself stamping on the steps of the White House, sitting at the president's office, giving speeches to large crowds, winning the election. But he didn't only envision positive outcomes, he envisioned himself tackling challenges along the way. Now, one exercise you can take away from this book and apply it into your sales career is what I call nighttime programming. Step number 1 of this process is defining your goal clearly. Pick out a specific target with a specific timeline. Vague goals won't help you. We can't hit a target we're not aiming towards. Step number 2 is create a positive affirmation around it. Remember, don't use negative affirmations. For example, I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to be poor. Because your brain doesn't process the negative. You have to only think in positives. So you can say, I'm healthy, vibrant, full of energy. I'm a multi-millionaire. I have the life of my dreams. Then once you come up with 3 to 5 affirmations about how you want your life to look like, then relax your body and mind and let them accept the affirmation. Anytime that you say that phrase to yourself and you feel tension or pressure on your chest, this is your subconscious mind trying to reject that idea. So you have to relax and lean into these phrases as you keep repeating them to yourself. Sit down and visualize the desired outcome. Picture as if your goals are already achieved. Now, as you close your eyes and you visualize the outcome, what do you see around you? What are the people that are with you? How does the environment look like? Try to engage with your emotions. How are you supposed to feel once you create that perfect life for yourself? And the most important thing is, don't just picture the positive, but picture yourself overcoming the challenges. Foreshadow challenges that might happen and visualize yourself overcoming them in a powerful way. Now, once you've done that, I want you to let go and surrender to the process. There will be thoughts that come up to your mind around how am I ever going to get there? What's the actual plan? Forget about the plan or the how to. All we need to do right now is plant the idea in your mind and sit back and let the universe unfold. Your subconscious mind is always working behind the scenes to help you achieve that outcome, even if you don't realize it. But even after finishing this book and all these exercises, I was still left with uncertainty around how do I go about my day-to-day without self-sabotage, which brings us to book number 2, and it's mind shift. Now, reading this book helped me realize how deeply ingrained fear and uncertainty is within us, and how's that showing up in our day-to-day as self-sabotage. It also talks about the story of Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks. Once upon a time, he was just a struggling sales rep for a very small coffee manufacturer. So the first day he actually visited a Starbucks store, they were only selling coffee beans. Schultz saw the potential for something bigger though. A cultured cafe, like the ones they have in Italy, where people sit down and create an actual community and bonding around drinking coffee. He went to the owners of Starbucks at the time to pitch the idea of an environment of collaboration and connection in the form of a coffee shop, but the founders quickly rejected it. Now, here's where his mind shift happened. He actually thought, what if I would stop being an employee, take my fate into my hands, and create my own coffee empire to bring my vision to life? So he reshaped Starbucks from just a lowly coffee shop to an entire conglomerate of coffee shops that include community and connection. His mind shift went from someone just selling coffee beans to creating experiences that shape the brand and culture. Now, how can you use this in your day-to-day life? We will start with your vision. As an example, you can say, I am a top 1% top performing sales professional. And you can get even more specific than that. I close 20 deals a month and I'm making 50,000 a month predictably. Then we have to notice what's the limiting belief that's coming up behind that vision. For example, it can be, well, I'm not good enough at sales to do that. How the mind shift now needs to happen is we take that limiting belief and we turn it into a positive belief. So the reframe here will be, instead of you saying, I'm not good enough at sales, you can say, my prospects aren't good enough at buying my product, so it's on me to help them overcome their concerns and objections. That's how I will become the top 1%. So what's the actionable step? I will keep improving in sales every single day, undeterred from rejection, knowing that I'm capable of building my pipeline and closing deals consistently. Even though this was one of my favorite books, it was book number 3 that actually changed the game for me. And that book was Psycho-Cybernetics. And as you can see, I have hundreds and hundreds of notes in this. You see, once I read this book, I started to realize we don't see the world as it is, we actually see the world as we are. Most people fail to see how our self-image actually shapes our day-to-day life and experiences. So by actively changing how you see yourself, you will change how you see and experience day-to-day life. The author, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, shares the story of a patient who was in a horrific car accident and had to do face surgery. So before the surgery, he had very low self-esteem, he had trouble building relationships with people because of how disfigured his face was, constantly feeling unattractive and unworthy of human connection. But here's the catch. After his surgery, after completely restructuring his face, looking like pretty much like a model, his self-esteem never changed. So he still had trouble connecting with people, getting in a relationship, as he still saw himself in his mind as being disfigured. So while his face had changed, he never changed how he viewed himself. Because at the end of the day, your self-image isn't about your external appearance. It's how you perceive yourself and how you show up in the world. Now, what exercise can you deploy so you can benefit directly? Make a list of your desired sales traits. For example, confidence. So for example, I am confident. I am the best at objection handling. I am great at prospecting. I want to be more assertive on my calls. Step number 2 is acting as if you already have those traits. So ask yourself, who would you be and what would your results be if you already had these traits installed in you? If you want to be more empathetic, ask better and more open-ended questions. If you want to be more assertive, put the truth on the table with prospects and stop getting slapped around by them. If you want to be more confident, carry yourself with confidence and force yourself into situations where you have to be confident to succeed. So this book created a real transformation within me, but this next book was a real game changer when it comes to my actual performance. And the next book is Relentless by Tim Grover. So this is the book that really allowed me to stop accepting good enough from myself and actually step into greatness. You see, mastery and greatness aren't achieved by talent alone or just working harder. You have to tap into your darkest desires and use them as fuel, where your fears, your overdoubts, your lack of confidence are overcome by this primal need within you for greatness. Tim Grover actually tells the story about training Michael Jordan in one of the toughest seasons of 97 to 98. This would be Jordan's final championship run with the Bulls, where he would go first into the training and he would leave from the training grounds late into the night. He pushed himself through fatigue, through painful injuries, and through defeats. There was actually an infamous flu game in 1997 where Jordan played in the finals while having high fever. He was severely ill and later they found out that he actually had food poisoning. But he played for 44 minutes, scoring the majority of points and led the Bulls to a massive victory. So here's an exercise that you can take and deploy in your day-to-day. It starts by identifying what you hate to do. So list out 3 to 5 tasks around your sales job or your life which you feel an uncomfort towards. Forget about what the influencers tell you about ice-cold baths or getting uncomfortable in difficult scenarios. Make a list around what you feel hard, not what others tell you it's hard. The next step is pretty simple. Commit to doing it anyway. Choose one of these tasks that you dislike doing most and put it on top of your daily to-do list. Commit to doing it every single day of the week. The key is consistency, not perfection. I don't care for you to bring results right away. What I care about is you showing up and actually doing it daily. The key piece is pushing past the resistance. Every time you feel resistance, you need to view it as an opportunity for growth. Every time you break that mental muscle that's telling you stop, you mold your mind to become its 10.0 version. So this one is powerful, but there's a reason why I didn't cut off the list there, and I have this next book, which is Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. which talks about true strength and resilience. They don't come by just overcoming obstacles, but by welcoming adversity and uncertainty. Nassim Taleb tells the story of Roman roads back in the Roman Empire, and specifically how the Roman Empire built a vast network of major roads, but they weren't out of one material only. These roads were carefully constructed with stone, gravel, and sand, a blend of materials that would not only withstand the passage of time, but they would actually mold stronger because of it. So the wear and tear didn't actually break the road, but it made it even more concrete. So even if the Roman Empire fell, the roads are still there being used today. So an exercise from this book that I love to use with my clients is the barbell strategy. So the barbell strategy talks about two extremes. You see, most people play in the middle, the safe, the average road, where you have an average amount of risk and an average amount of reward. But that's not a way to play the game of life. Instead, you choose the two other extremes. You pick a low risk, low reward strategy that's you center 80% of your activities around that. So 70 to 80% of your time should be spent on low risk, safe reward tasks. So for your sales career, this can mean doing your follow-up, responding to current leads, maintaining relationship with current customers, following your sales process and leveraging existing business. But on the other end of the spectrum, 20 to 30% of your time should be spent on high risk, high reward moves. In your sales career, this can be going after bigger deals, investing a certain amount of money to enter a main account. Essentially, these are tasks that push you out of your comfort zone and take a big swing that will yield a high reward. So if you actually use these books and do the exercises, they will transform the way you sell, but also live your life. But let's be real, these books won't just close the deal for you. So if you want to know how I closed 940,000 in one single month, watch this video right here and I'll see you over there.